If something broadcast on television isn't recorded, its footage is likely lost forever. A previous video on this channel discussed NASCAR races that have been lost, and in this video we'll discuss the top 10 lost IndyCar broadcasts. This list includes races that aren't on YouTube, races that might exist in archives, and other broadcasts that may not exist at all.
This is Sid Collins speaking for the TBS television network, consisting of 185 stations today. This program is live, in color, and will be brought to you in its entirety.
TBS was a network that syndicated sports programming to independent television stations. In addition to broadcasting college basketball, they began showing IndyCar races in 1969. The first race for the network was at the Milwaukee Mile in June. Using Sid Collins as a broadcaster, TBS aired 2 races the first year and then several races per year between 1970 and 1972. None of the TBS broadcasts are known to have survived.
The following is another feature presentation of the Century Telesports Network. From the Pocono International Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, it's the Schaefer 500 at Pocono.
Similar to TBS, the Century Telesports Network syndicated sports events to independent stations. Seemingly using the same broadcast team as TBS, Century aired a delayed broadcast of the inaugural Pocono 500 in July 1971. A film of the race exists, but the 2-hour Century broadcast is believed to be lost.
The ABC Sports Auto Racing team is in Las Vegas, Nevada, with the Indy Racing League ready for the Indy Racing League Las Vegas 500K.
The first race to be held at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway was an IndyCar event in September 1996. Filled by crashes, over 40% of the race was run under caution. Running very long, ABC left the race with 70 laps to go and switched to local news on the East Coast. But for West Coast viewers, the broadcast stayed until the finish. It's the West Coast complete version that was missing for the longest time, but might not be lost anymore. A recent internet posting says the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum has just found a copy. The 1968 Tony Bettenhausen 200 from Springfield, Illinois was the first IndyCar race to be broadcast live and in color. While significant from a historic point of view, the hour-and-a-half ABC broadcast has not yet surfaced. The 1976 Indy 500 was shown as a tape-delayed 2-hour broadcast aired at 9 o'clock, a few hours after the race finished. For some reason, the ABC broadcast has never been re-aired on ESPN Classic or appeared anywhere online, making it unlikely that an intact copy exists. The 1981 Pocono 500 was known as the race where dirt cars competed against Indy cars, as we talked about in a video on this channel. A 1-hour syndicated highlight film was shown on TV stations 2 weeks after the race was held. That footage has not surfaced since, but it is believed that the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum has a copy. The first race for the kart series was at Phoenix in March 1979, and 1-hour broadcast was shown on NBC that same day. While kart was a major organization for roughly 30 years, its debut race has not yet surfaced. In 1949, the Indy 500 was shown live by WFBM, a local Indianapolis TV station. Using 3 cameras located along the front stretch, the broadcast reached a small audience of 3,000 people who had televisions in the area. The station returned again in 1950, but the Speedway felt the broadcast hurt attendance. WFBM covered only qualifying in 1951, and the race had no TV broadcast again until 1965. Live television recordings from the late 40s are incredibly rare, and the Indy 500 broadcasts were never saved. In the last year, the Indy 500 was scheduled for a Saturday. ABC's same-day broadcast aired at 8:30 that evening. The race is significant for being the first Indy 500 win for Roger Penske. While a film version exists, a 20-minute French recording of the ABC broadcast is apparently all that remains of the network version. Beginning in 1964, the Indy 500 was broadcast live, flag to flag, in hundreds of movie theaters across the country. The closed-circuit broadcast ran from 64 to 1970 and were produced by MCA. Out of the 7 years, only a partial recording of the 1966 broadcast is known to exist. Have any of these races in your collection? Or perhaps there's another race that you've been looking for? Make sure you mention it in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching.